There are movies about family, and then there are movies that feel like they broke into your memories, rearranged the furniture, and left the door cracked on the way out. Sentimental Value is that thing. It's a story about a once great filmmaker who is trying to stage a comeback and about his daughters who are done with his excuses. And it's also about how movies become the only language that some people know how to speak. Welcome back to the Garage Guys. Gerald here with you, of course, doing another movie review today for one of my favorite films of the year that I just had the chance to catch up with, and that is Sentimental Value. After the death of their mother, two sisters, Nora and Agnes, are forced back into the orbit of their estranged father, Gustav, who is once a famous director, and he walked out on the family years ago. His glory days are well behind him, but 15 years since his last film, he's written a new script. It's about some pretty personal issues around the history of his family, and he wants his own daughter, Nora, who is an actress in her own right, to play the lead, which she refuses. This leads to a series of events in which he casts Hollywood actress Rachel Kemp, who is played by Elle Fanning. Gustav sees this movie as his big chance, his artistic resurrection, but also a last-ditch attempt to repair what he shattered with his daughters. So you've got three levels happening at once. You've got the film within the film, the actual family history, and the emotional wreckage they've all been trying to outrun. From the first frame, Sentimental Value lives in the space between the past and the present. It uses the passage of time like a character. You feel the weight of the years in pauses, in the way people look at each other across the room, or the way the old house seems to hold its own breath. There's this constant whisper of the past in the background. Not in a flashy, showy way, more like a draft you can't quite find the source of. The tone is quietly bruising, but it isn't joyless. There is whimsy and nostalgia. You start to feel like you've known the family your whole life, the inside jokes, the old wounds. The film has a vintage soul, but it's absolutely aware that it exists in present day. One of my favorite touches is how director Joachim Trier plays with his modern identity. For example, Gustav's new film is being distributed by Netflix, yet when someone asks in an interview if it'll play in theaters, he's honestly confused and he goes, "Where else would it play?" That one line tells you everything about him. He's from another era. He's clinging to his version of cinema that maybe doesn't exist anymore. The thing Trier nails, and this is where the movie really got its hooks in me, is the way he ties cinema and family together so tightly that you can't even separate them. Gustav feels alive again because he's making a movie, but at the same time he's trying to resuscitate his dead relationship with his daughters. Those two missions become the same thing. The film keeps circling this idea that movies are how some of us process real life. We use scenes, characters, performances as shortcuts for our own memories. I can remember specifically seeing Back to the Future with my dad when I was 11 years old. In my head, that screening was basically yesterday. That feeling is right there on the surface, but in reality, it was 40 years ago. Movies let us hold on to a moment like it's still happening, but real life doesn't. It just keeps moving. Trier leans into that. Under the gorgeous images and the sharp dialogue, there's this quiet reminder that film can preserve moments. Our actual lives, they don't get a pause button. When it comes down to performances, let's talk about this cast because, holy crap, the ensemble is absurd. Renate Ransva plays Nora, and she continues to prove that she is one of the best actors of her generation. She has this dry wit and this permanent chip on her shoulder, kind of like a simmering anger that never really cools. Ransva plays all of that in tiny shifts, smirks, glances, retorts, and because she's playing an actress in the movie, there's fun to be had with that too. There's moments when you see Nora tearing up or collapsing at something that's going on, and then it'll cut to her having a literal emotional breakdown, and the edit will reveal that that's part of a performance on stage, but it was seemingly a reaction to the scene that we just watched. So you do get these layered beats when you're watching an actress playing an actress who's using acting as a way to process pain that she's refusing to put into plain words. It's art imitating life, and it's life ducking behind art. Elle Fanning as Rachel Kemp is right there with her, also playing an actress, and she spends the whole movie trying to inhabit someone else, a woman she's never met whose memory already belongs to this family. The brutal twist is the someone she's trying to become is basically Nora, Gustav's daughter. Fanning plays Rachel like an actress who is technically very experienced, but emotionally feels like a rookie in this specific world. There's a soft naivety to her work here. She's smart, competent, but she's out of her depth when it comes to this emotional minefield that she's walked into. Then you have Inga Isbader Lilias as Agnes. I'm just going to call her Inga because I fear I'm butchering the name like always. She doesn't have the showiest material in this movie, but she owns all the quiet corners of this film. Agnes is the mirror to Nora in a lot of ways. Her life went the traditional route: marriage, motherhood, stability. On the other hand, Nora's path has led her to that starving artist cliche. And yet, the more time you spend with them, the more it feels like they're basically the same person split in two. They share a core set of values, the same buried resentment, the same longing for something they can't quite name. Inga plays Agnes with a calm, lived-in energy that sneaks up on you. She doesn't need big speeches. Her reactions, hesitations, and the way she kind of steps back from but also embraces conflict never disappoints. It all adds up for her character. By the end, you realize she's been the emotional backbone of a lot of the scenes in the film. And Stellan Skarsgård as Gustav, I tell you, this is one of the roles that feels almost like dangerously close to home for him. He's been in the industry for decades. He's a father himself with children in the business. He's seen it change over and over again. You can feel all that lived-in experience bleeding into his performance. He's prickly, vain, selfish, charming, pathetic, brilliant, often in the same frame. He's a man who has built his entire identity around cinema, and now he has to confront the fact that his greatest work, which is his family, he has completely botched. Skarsgård doesn't play him as a saint who just made a mistake. He leans into the ugliness and the ego. There are a couple of moments where he looks at his daughters and you can tell he knows he can't fix this, but he's going to try anyway, because it's the only story that he really has left to tell. It's one of the best performances I've seen of the year across any genre. You're in the garage, so we got to talk awards. This thing should be in the thick of multiple races this award season. Acting-wise, all four actors that I just discussed with you should be in the running: Ransva, Fanning, Inga, and especially Stellan Skarsgård. If the season shakes out the way it should, I can absolutely see Stellan as a frontrunner for supporting actor. On the top of the line side, this absolutely feels like a Best Picture player. It's the sweet spot that Academy loves. It's a movie about movies with genuine emotional stakes, and it has that international flair also. Speaking of which, this is probably the frontrunner or the top two for not only international feature, but also original screenplay, as Trier has knocked it out of the park yet again, just like he did with The Worst Person in the World. And with the new Best Casting category this year, this is the kind of ensemble that should be on that short list. It's easily one of the best cohesive casts all year. Sentimental Value is one of those films that sneaks up on you. It starts like a family drama about an aging director trying to get one last great film made, but then it ends up as a meditation on time, memory, and the way art becomes a crutch, a mirror, a confession booth. It feels old-fashioned and modern at the same time. And if you're someone who's ever measured your life in movies, this one is going to cut a little deeper than you expect. It's sitting comfortably in my top 10 of the year right now, and if it's playing anywhere near you, run to the theater. Those are my thoughts on Sentimental Value. Have you seen it, or are you planning on seeing it? Let me know that down below, and also let me know what you think about its Oscar chances. How many Academy Award nominations is this thing going to receive? I want to read all about that below. I'll see you out here next time in the garage.
Bye.
Sentimental Value. Am I right?